Another day with spirit sessions, a view of the light. Come in, I've got smudge enough for all of us so that we could just, for a little while, put all those worries and fears aside. Call in the higher parts of yourself and come and have a fantastic and beautiful high vibe morning with us. We have Rhonda, who is our Reiki teacher, who does the videos and the very special effects. And we have Bex Marie, who is like the heart of the show. And boy, when she channels, it's like you better have your notepad ready because it's deep and it's profound and it's really, really fast. Today, we have an amazing guest, a friend, a sister, someone who we have known and loved for so long. And it's none other than the Lucid Mystic. I can't, it's too small for me to read. The Lucid Mystic, Haylee Lynn. Woo!
Hello,
Welcome.
thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, lovely to have you here.
Yeah,
Lovely to have you here. Let us know where everybody's coming from and say hello. And Haley's going to bring us some really cool stuff today. So Haley, give us a little, whatever they call it now, not a 411, just a little shortened version of who you are and what you're doing now, because you've evolved since we've had you on the last show. You've got like 14, almost 15,000 viewers for your YouTube, which is nothing to sneeze at. So that's quite a bit. And just give us a little thing of what you do and where you've come from.
Yeah, so my name is Haylee. I go by the Lucid Mystic on YouTube, and I am a lucid dreaming and out-of-body experience coach, and I help people induce altered states of consciousness for life transformation and healing. Recently, I have been facilitating more breath work. I have been expanding my consciousness work, and I have been stepping into reality shifting, more into neuroscience work, quantum physics, mind management, to help people transform their lives from the inside out. So that really does fit with the dream work that I've been doing as well. So I really am just a consciousness coach. I'm here to help you step into your most fulfilled life and live the life of your dreams. No pun intended. There is a lot of dream work regardless of what we do with me, but it is all about truly liberation, allowing you to experience the life of your dreams. And today we're going to be talking about reality shifting, which we haven't talked about before on this show. So I'm extremely excited to dive into that with you guys.
Reality shifting, that's been a bit of a theme this week, hasn't it? We've been kind of shifting. We want to shift to a reality we want, though. So we were talking about worry earlier. How do you shift from that point of worry?
Well, first, I really think that we need to get clear on what we want. When we want to shift our reality, we have to know what that reality looks like. I think feeling stuck comes from lack of clarity in what we want to experience. So I think the first thing is to look at what that burning desire is. What does that life look like that you actually want to cultivate and step into? And once we do that, our brain, without fail, will come up with all the reasons why we can't do it. That's great, because that shows us the blocks that are standing in between us and that desired reality. So that's where the mind management comes in, and it allows us to work through those blocks and beliefs. But as far as shifting through worry, I think that's one of the biggest things, is listening to that worry, seeing what it's trying to tell us, because our body is extremely intuitive. And when we feel something, it's because there is some sort of underlying belief or thought that is creating an uncomfortable feeling in our body when we think about what we want. So I think it's a very intuitive process of really listening to the body. And we have thoughts of, overthinking and panic attacks because we try to suppress it. We try to shut it down. When really, if we opened up a dialogue with our brain, our body, okay, I can feel that there is something uncomfortable in the body. Tell me what's going on. Once you decide to listen to your brain and all of those thoughts that are going on, you'll realize some of them don't make sense. Some of them are stories instead of facts. Some of the things your brain's telling you don't have substance, or it will show you some things that you do need to address as far as just your life or circumstances, as far as why you think you can't have what you want. So I think the biggest thing with worry is learning to listen to it, identify what it feels like in the body, and dissect it, because every feeling we have is attached to a thought. The beliefs that we have influence the thoughts that we have, and the thoughts that we have influence the feelings that we feel, and how we feel influences the actions that we take. and our actions influence our results. So our beliefs are directly connected to our results. So I think it's just about identifying that desire and then working backwards to see what's attached to that and what's in our way with that. So that's what I would start with.
Do you think worry is programmed into us from the time we're little as well? I can always remember my mother saying, waiting for the other shoe to drop. After my laughter comes tears. I could go through a whole bunch. It's just like we can't live in that moment or hold that moment of joy. Like we don't feel like we're worthy of it. Do you feel that that's a component of this as well?
Absolutely, because we come into this world as a blank canvas. We come into this world open. We have all of these desires, aspirations, dreams. We think everything is possible, right? And sometimes we're even told as children, you can be anything that you want to. Anything you want to do is possible. You just have to want it. But then we grow up and we're told, oh, you need to be realistic. Oh, that's not possible. And so we get this confusing message of like, oh, I grew up thinking that I could become or do anything. And now I'm being told from someone else's belief system that now it's not possible. So I think our programming definitely comes from when we were children and the people that raised us or were around us a lot. We are as soon, from the moment we're born to like 8 years old, we're looking at other people to see how we need to be in the world in order to survive. What thoughts and beliefs do I have to have in order to be loved and in order to survive in this environment? And how do I have to show up? So other people kind of determine who we are when we are little. And then a lot of that sticks into our programming as we get older. And so I think this process is really more about unlearning more than learning. I think we already have everything that we need, but we need to uncover all of the stories that we were told are facts. I think it's really a process of unlearning, but it's good to know that you don't have these thoughts and beliefs for no reason, and there's nothing wrong with you, and it's totally normal for us to have these limitations. But it's important to know that they most likely didn't come from you either. And when we start to write them down, we can start to identify who used to say this or who does this phrase remind me of. And you'll realize a lot of those thoughts are our parents or our caregivers. And once we're aware of that, then we can start to change the internal dialogue and reprogram our brain to have the beliefs that we want, which will, of course, support the results that we want.
Yeah, because I think a lot of the older generation or my generation, we're told we could dream, but then there's a real fear in dreaming too big, and there's a fear because you have to put yourself out there, and nobody wants to put themselves out there as a target because you're shot down really fast. And,
well, dreaming doesn't pay the bills, right? That's what we're told. Stop daydreaming. You're wasting your time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly that. Yeah.
And it's probably because they experience some sort of hardship or what they would consider failure in their dream, and they've ingrained that belief that, oh, it's not possible to have what I want, and now we unconsciously teach that to others in our life. But I think that it really comes down to not being afraid to be judged. I think it really does come down to like liberating yourself in that way to where you're comfortable with going for anything, because you're not going to accept these beliefs from other people. But I really do believe that it's first of all identifying what you truly want, and then once we know what we want, our brain can actually create a path to get there, and anything that is resistance within that will be able to work through. But yeah, we're taught to play small and be realistic, but take a moment to think about kind of what death teaches us. For example, we're all scared of death, right? Or a lot of us are. But it's because death shows us the truth. It shows us what truly matters. And do we want to be at the end of our life like wishing that we just took that chance, or wishing that we did things differently? Or can we take that lesson and bring it into this moment and live authentically? Because every single moment counts. This could be our last day. Like, what energy do you want to be in?
so do you think when we go to sleep at night, it's a little bit like death?
I think that
Because I think science still doesn't really have a good handle on what happens when we sleep. I mean, they have a good idea, but they'll even be the ones, we're not sure. So do you think it's like a little death when we sleep at night? Because we go somewhere else most of the time, whether it's just totally unconscious or we go somewhere in our dreams. And like, where do we go when we're asleep?
I do think it is in a way, because we attach ourselves to our ego. Our ego is just the human mechanism to help us survive in this 3D reality. But when we're sleeping, that's turned off. So we have access to our true self, our inner self, when we are dreaming. And this is why dreaming can be so beneficial for achieving your dreams or looking at your blocks, because we enter a subconscious state and our ego is turned off. You'll notice if you're dreaming or lucid dreaming, you're not really hard on yourself. You're not really like in this like ego mind when you're dreaming. You're very open. That part of your brain is turned off, and you're a lot more open to what comes up without judgment. And I think it's a beautiful place to explore. But regardless of why we dream or what happens to us when we sleep, it allows us, it's a gateway to the inner self through dreaming. And I think that once you have identified your desires, your subconscious knows the goal that you want, and it will willingly bring up anything that is driven by discomfort by your desire. So anything that is stopping you from achieving that, even just regular dreams, you could say what you desire to experience life, and you can just literally ask out loud, show me what I need to see, or show me what I need to work through, and you will see those things show up in your dreams. So I do think using the dream state in this work is extremely important, because we sleep for a third of our lives, which is roughly 30 to 33 years. Imagine if you used that time as well as the time that we're awake to really do some inner work. We would be able to step into these lives so much quicker if we use that time.
So how do we go about, I know you've just done a meditation on your YouTube channel about merging your reality. So how do you think, how do we use our dreams to merge into the reality we want? Or how does that work? How can we do that?
So
Give us a sight. Yeah.
So I think it's important to use this practice within the waking state as well as dreaming. I think that's going to allow us to do this work so much quicker, because when we're trying to implement beliefs or new thoughts, it's going to be rejected by the conscious mind for a little bit. But how we reprogram our brain is through a thought and a feeling with repetition. That is what will create a new belief. And of course, there's going to be some resistance at first when we do this in the waking state because of our current programming. One of our brain's jobs is to keep us exactly how we were programmed. And it's doing that to protect us and to keep us safe. But if we want to kind of bypass that like longer process, we can use the dream state, whether it's lucid dreaming or just regular dreams, to be able to do this work. Through dreaming, you're going to get a lot of symbols, a lot of things that are ready to be integrated and released are going to come up in your dreams. So through non-lucid dreams, just regular dreams, you'll be able to see blocks or internal thoughts or feelings that you have that maybe you've suppressed. And that will allow you to see kind of what is standing in your way from really feeling like you're worthy of having what you desire. And then through lucid dreaming, we can implement a new thought and a feeling out loud in the lucid dream. And for those of you who've never had a lucid dream before, you have total awareness that you're in a dream, and it feels like a virtual like reality game, but really hyper realistic. And your brain thinks you're awake during a lucid dream. So when you state a thought and attach it to a feeling of gratitude or something out loud, that goes directly to your subconscious mind, because a huge part of your conscious mind is turned off. And so we can reprogram our brain a lot quicker through the dream state. But when it comes to really stepping into our reality, we want to look at the personality of the version of us that has that desired life. Quantum physics has showed us that every single possibility is being played out right now. So the version of you that is living in the place that you want to live in, that is making the amount of money a month that you want, that version of you is being played out right now. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, which means we can't just come up with ideas or scenarios that don't already exist. So since that version of us already exists, we just have to learn how to tap into that. So for example, for me, I am set on moving to Washington. And some people say oh, what would Jesus do in this situation? For me, what would my Washington self do? How would she act? How would she feel? How can I merge with that version of myself? And this is why clarity is so important. We want to know exactly what we want, where we're going to be. We really want to get so clear on that version of ourselves, it's a real person. And once we have that, we can start to identify the qualities of that personality. And some of you may recognize what I'm talking about. Joe Dispenza says that your personality creates your personal reality. And your personality is the thoughts that you think, the feelings that you feel, and the way that you behave. So if we want to change our personal reality, we just have to change our personality, the version of ourselves, as far as how we think, how we feel, and how we act. So how would the version of yourself in that desired reality that you've envisioned, what thoughts would they be thinking throughout the day? how would they feel? What are the 3 main feelings that they would be feeling on a day-to-day basis? What would their habits be? What time do they get up in the morning? How do they dress? It's almost like role playing the successful version of yourself in the now. And if you're thinking these new thoughts, if you're feeling these feelings and your behaviors are also in alignment with that reality, your brain is going to already assume that you've achieved what you want to achieve. And this 3D reality kind of moves in a very slow, sludge-like motion. So at first you may not feel like anything's happening, but you will start to have people come into your life that are attached to that reality. You'll start to receive certain opportunities because you've changed your state of consciousness. And for those of you who have read like Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, or have studied Neville Goddard's work, they are some of the wealthiest minds and greatest philosophers, and they have talked about this for forever. Neville Goddard says to live in the end. Live in the end of your desire already fulfilled. How would that feel? What would that feel like? What thoughts would you be thinking? How would you need to behave or really show up energetically in order to feel like you are that version of yourself in that reality? And one technique that I love more than anything is to fall asleep in the state of your desired fulfilled, because we talked about dreams, we talked about the subconscious, how important that is as far as reprogramming who we are to achieve what we want to achieve. And the last few minutes of wakefulness, our subconscious mind is actually opening and our conscious mind is closing. This is why you might be thinking thoughts and all of a sudden they start to get all jumbled and you are talking about random stuff in your head as you're falling asleep, and you're maybe seeing a little bit of dream images.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Your mind is closing and your subconscious mind is opening. So if you want to make an impression on your subconscious mind, fall asleep in the state of your desire fulfilled. So for me, even though I live in Utah right now, in consciousness, I always fall asleep in Washington. When I close my eyes, I feel the house, the new house that I am in. I envision the different sense of the area that I'm in. So really quickly, I want you guys to just close your eyes really fast so I can show you kind of just what it means to shift. So close your eyes, and I want you just to feel the energy of the room that you're in. Now, I want you to hold out your hand and imagine that a tennis ball is in your hand. Really feel the weight of the tennis ball, the texture of the tennis ball. You're able to truly sense what it feels like to hold that tennis ball. Now I want you to change that tennis ball into a golf ball. The weight changes, the texture changes, and you can definitely sense the difference. Now, one more with this. Now imagine holding a soccer ball. You can feel the texture in consciousness. You can feel yourself holding this. And this is what it means to shift your state of consciousness. You are tuning into this reality where you're holding this ball with your senses, and that means that it exists because your senses are connected to this. Now I just want you to put your hand down. I want you to imagine that you're in the room next to you. Whatever that is, I want you just to imagine that you're in the room next to you. It could be sitting on the couch, you could be in your kitchen, whatever it is. I just want you to imagine shifting yourself to the room next to you. Now, before, you might have had a room that was on your right, but maybe now in consciousness, that room is now on your left because you've shifted where you are being, where you are present. And you can feel the energy of the room around you, right? When we close our eyes, we know where we are in our house. And now, because you're sitting in this other area, you can now sense the area of that room. You can go ahead and open your eyes. This is really what it means to shift your state of consciousness. You want to do that exact thing, but with your desired reality. When you're falling asleep, you want to imagine sleeping in that new area. You want to feel the energetics of that new space around. And that's all that it is to shift your consciousness, is allow your senses to engage with another reality that maybe isn't happening in the physical. And that's how I fall asleep every single night. So I definitely play around with that and just connect to the thoughts that you'd be having, what you'd be feeling if you just achieved what you wanted and you're getting that first night's sleep of like, oh my God, I cannot believe that this just happened today. Like, really create some substance in that reality. And if we can learn to be in that energy until it feels natural, is what Neville says. You want to be in this state of consciousness as much as possible until it feels natural. Then that's a natural part of your being, and you will start to see it take form in the physical reality. So everything is just a shift away from what we want to experience.
Have you guys seen that movie? Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
No,
I had to
I've heard
watch it.
about it.
I had to watch it with subtitles because it's like partly Mandarin, but there's a lot of English in there too, or
Oh, I
it
heard about
should.
that one. Yeah.
And what's really cool about that movie is it's about what we're talking about, because of all the different parallel universes and everything from the choice points that we've made. There's those versions of us that are completely different. And the girl in the movie was in a state that she needed to be able to, like, let's say there was a fight coming up, like somebody's coming at her. Well, she learned that she can go to another reality where she knew how to handle a fight and would bring those skills in. But to do that, you had to have a reality shift first, or had to change your energy. And in the movie, they had to do that by doing something weird in the moment, like eating a chapstick, or something you would never do. But it was enough to shift you so that now you can go into the realm of all possibilities. So it's kind of exciting.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like, we're always going to have insights from all periods of our life. When we're 60 or 70 years old, we could have a great groundbreaking business idea. What if you could tap into that state of consciousness before that age and bring it into where you are now and actually start to collapse time when it comes to your success? I love that you said that because it's absolutely possible. And I mean, athletes have been doing this for a long time, right? They envision, they mentally rehearse them achieving something or winning in whatever sport they're doing. And I mean, tons of people have been doing this. I do this before, live streams and hosting classes, and I envision how I want it to go. I step into that reality before it happens. I live in the end of it already being completed. And so, yeah, it's a way to collapse time and really connect to all versions of ourselves for guidance. And I'm not sure if you guys have heard of, I'm sure you guys have heard of having an inner council. Basically just a few people that you look up to that are in your mind, and you basically will have meetings with them at a meeting table and get advice or be able to talk to them. And when we imagine people that we look up to, it's pretty easy to imagine them talking, hear their voice and what they would say. And so you choose a few people, or however many you want, that you really, really look up to. And anytime you need advice or you need guidance, you can tap into your inner council and actually hear from everyone in your council. And I don't know if you guys have heard of Jane, what's his name? I forgot his name, but Bob Proctor is one of the people in my Jeffrey Allen. He's an energy worker. He's in my inner council because he just has the most precious energy, and I just anytime I listen to him speak, I feel better. Bob Proctor's in my inner council, Neville Goddard, and also myself, my Washington version of myself. So if I ever need guidance or something, I tap into my inner council and I hear from these members, and one of them is myself. So it's a great way to tap into your own intuition, because we already have all of the answers. We just need to tap into them and unlock them. But yeah.
Living in the where you want to be reminds me of this book that was written back in 1925 by this woman called Florence Scovel Shinn. I was kind of looking on my book to, if you've ever read hers, The Game of Life and How to Play It, and she talks about so much of, are you sure you're not a reincarnated person of her? Because she talks about so much of, well, she would get her clients to write a check even though they were broke for some stuff, or order those olives stuffed with almonds because that's what rich people do, and so live the way they want to now, so they get into that energy of it. And so
Totally. And I mean, we have to be able to be the person in that reality, or else we're going to have a hard time holding that abundance. It's like when people win the lottery and they lose it all within a week or something. They haven't stepped into that wealth consciousness where they're able to support that abundance. And that's how it is within our lives as well. We need to be the person in that reality so we can actually support the abundance. And if you call yourself in, I've been doing this lately with calling in my Washington self, and again, you can connect to these different levels of yourself. You can really start to connect with them and make an intention to merge with that reality. But if you're merging with that version of your successful self, you may notice some lessons come up, or some things that you need to learn and understand in order to be that person, because that version of yourself has a new understanding. They have went through some lessons that have helped them kind of create their success. And that's just the path that we're walking. And so if you notice any lessons come up or maybe resistance come up, know that it's all leading you to that version of yourself, as long as you're clear on your desire. Once you are clear on your desire, it's already in the works. And then all you have to do is learn how to kind of merge who you are with that person through your actions and being in that abundant kind of energy and learning to surrender to what comes up. Yeah, very important.
Yeah, the lessons. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lisa's saying, "Oh, this is giving me ideas." Yeah.
So, like my personal experience with trying to visualize or whatever where I want to be, I find that I have a hard time with the actual details, but it's more about how I want to feel, right? So I spend more time in the how do I want to feel? Have I felt this before in my experience that I can tap into that and bring it into the now and care, and then anchor it into the future kind of thing. But so for like someone like me who doesn't really have a lot of, I guess, success with the visual, because if I get stuck in the details, I lose the purpose, right? So I get too caught up in the details. But it's more for me. It's about how I want to feel. Like I want to feel like I can relax about money and just spend money freely and feel good about it, or I want to be able to have like really great relationships with people that I love and, communication and things like that. Like it's feeling supported and safe and happy. So is that as powerful? I mean, it's kind of the same thing, right? So you're doing it with the visualization, but you have to feel it in order to bring it to the reality, right?
I love that you said that, because everyone's talking about what's the secret, the documentary, the book, everyone's talking about the secret. The feeling is the secret. And Neville Goddard talks a lot about this. The feeling is the secret. If you don't feel it, then it cannot take form. The feeling is the very first step. So it's great that you're doing that, because the first thing you want to really identify is, how do I want to feel? The feeling. How do I want to feel? And then you can work backwards. What's attached to this feeling? What generates this feeling for me? And then you can just engage in those activities that make you feel good. And then you're on the frequency of that feeling. And state of consciousness is really like a room. There's a state of consciousness for everything, right? There's a room for poverty. There's a room for wealth. There's a room for fear, for worry, for excitement. And we can step into any of these rooms, any of these states of consciousness at any time. So if you step into the room of that feeling that you desire to feel, all of a sudden you're going to start to get ideas that are attached to that feeling. You're going to start to take actions that are attached to that feeling, and you'll be in the energy of that room. So feeling, I love that you said that, because that's a great thing to start with. How do I want to feel every day? And what are things that I know are attached to that? And then you can kind of work with that.
Yeah, Blessed by the Best says, seeing the end result, backtrack to fill in the details, but seeing it, but also feeling that.
Feeling is extremely important. Yeah,
that's that's the vibe, right? That's the one, like Mike Dooley talks about it when, the universe, it's how you want to feel, and generating that positive feeling uplifts you, uplifts everyone around you, makes the energy flow better. It's like,
we're an energetic universe, and feelings are energy. So we definitely want to cultivate the inner world that we want to experience first, and that will express outwards. Feeling is the number one. And once we start feeling a certain way, we will have thoughts that are attached to that feeling, and it's kind of that ripple effect.
Yeah, the feeling is the secret sauce. Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so we can change not only our world, but the collective as well. We can shift all of that, because of course we know we're seeing collective themes happening right now that are really shaking people to their core, making them feel like they don't have stability, making them feel, just chaos, right? So if we're working on, getting into the feeling of how we want to feel, and that ripples out, it's going to affect the people closest to us to keep going. And then eventually the collective will start to settle in as well.
Absolutely. And everything that we go through is really a guide for you to learn how to create that feeling within yourself, because we don't want to rely on our external circumstances to determine how we feel. And even though that can be really hard sometimes, that's the challenge. That's the thing that we're meant to kind of overcome. And our physical reality is actually the past. This is the past results of our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors up until this point. So if you want to see your state of consciousness, just look at your space around you, and you'll see kind of where it has gotten you. And so that's how we know we can't change matter with matter. We have to change our internal world, our energy first, and then we'll start to see that take form. But the past is the physical reality is definitely the past result. And so working here energetically first will allow us to see those changes. And one of the biggest things, if it's something you can't control, learn to let go, learn to surrender.
There it is. I was going to say, what was the word you brought up before when we were talking, when we were getting ready? It was surrender.
Surrender has been my biggest lesson as well. And that's one of the most important things, because if we can detach from this physical reality, we have full control over how we feel. We are like sovereign. We are untouchable when it comes to our circumstances. And that will really allow us to create the internal world that we desire.
Can you give us do you have a little example of a visualization you can guide us in for doing that? Or like another one? Would you mind doing a little meditation so we can get to our secret sauce and shift our reality now into whatever we want? And
totally. First, I want you guys just to think about one thing that you desire to experience in your life, regardless of the thoughts that are saying it's not possible. Whatever it is, it could be going on a trip, it could be being in a new area, it could be making a certain amount of money a month. I just want you to think about something that really feels good to you. What feels good? Maybe it's a year out, 2 years out, whatever it is. I just want you to tap into that desire. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and just close your eyes. You're going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose, expanding your belly, activating your diaphragm. And exhaling, maybe letting out a sigh. Take a couple more deep breaths this way, in through the nose, expanding the belly. And contracting the belly on the exhale, allowing anything that doesn't serve you to release through the breath. I want you to visualize where you are sitting right now in the seat that you are sitting, just becoming present behind your closed eyes, just observing, feeling the energetic space around you. With your awareness, I want you just to bring it up just barely above your head, so you should be able to kind of perceive yourself sitting there from a higher perspective, just kind of looking down at the top of your head, really taking in what the space looks like, what it feels like. Now, when you're ready, I want you to allow yourself to float higher above your body, away from your body, reaching the ceiling or wherever you are right now. Your awareness going through the ceiling, being able to see the roof, the treetops, zooming to the clouds, going a little bit higher. Now you're able to see your property. You're zooming up higher. You kind of see your city until you zoom above the clouds and you can see the curvature of the earth. Just really taking this awareness in, being able to observe from this perspective. Now, as you are above the clouds, you're kind of in the atmosphere, seeing the curvature of the earth. I want you to envision a timeline. I want you to think about that desire that we tapped into before, whatever that is. And I want you to see the check of where you are right now on your timeline, the little mark of where you are on your timeline. So a timeline kind of appears in front of you of your life. There's a little mark of where you are right now. And I want you to think about that desire and intuitively see that mark on the timeline of where that takes place, of where that desire comes to form. Now I want you to intuitively zoom to that part in your timeline forward. So you're going forward onto that timeline, still above the earth, being able to observe the curvature, and you feel that shift. You are now at that mark in your timeline where that desire has now taken form. Now we're going to go visit that desire. Now you're going to allow yourself to gently descend back to planet Earth, into the atmosphere, through the clouds, wisping down. Maybe you can hear the wind in your ears. Maybe you can feel your tummy drop going faster down to Earth. And there's going to be a pinpoint that's just going to take you right to where that desire takes place. Notice if you're in the same neighborhood, if you're in a completely different place. want you to keep zooming down, and I want you to find yourself in that reality wherever you are sitting or whatever that version of yourself is doing. Just zoom down, seeing the city or wherever you are, zooming past down through the clouds, the treetops. And I want you to stand wherever that version of you is. I want you to stand right next to them. They're doing their thing. They can't see you. They're just living their life in this reality. You're kind of just invisible. You're just able to observe this reality and see what they're doing. Now, once you are there, once you have safely descended, I want you to just notice where you are. Has the environment changed? What is this version of yourself doing? Are they inside? Are they outside? Are they with anyone else? What are they wearing? How are they feeling? Just really take a moment to look around and kind of just observe what's going on. You can walk around whatever's happening. Just check it out. See the differences from where you were in the previous timeline to what's happening now in this timeline. I want you to go to yourself, your desired self in this reality. And they're still doing their thing. I want you just to kind of walk around them. Walk around them and observe them. What are they doing? How do they look? What are the biggest differences from where you were in that previous timeline to what they're doing right now? Whether it's the differences in the environment, with how they look, how they feel. Do you see anything in the house that could indicate, or wherever they are, to indicate what they are doing, occupation-wise, or what are some changes that you can visually see? Really feel, just like we did earlier, really feel the energy of this space and being next to this version of yourself. Now, just for a moment, we're gonna step in to our desired self. So they're still doing their thing. I want you just to kind of step in energetically to their body and feel that shift, feel that connection to this version of yourself. What changed? Like, you just stepped into exactly what they were doing, how they were feeling, what thoughts they were having. What subtle shifts can you notice about being in this body? Intuitively invite the thoughts, the feelings connected to this version of yourself, and feel your energy starting to merge with theirs. As soon as you stepped in, you really feel your energy starting to melt with this version of yourself. And the more you are in this version of yourself, the more you feel like this is you. You're starting to just melt and merge with that version of yourself. Really notice any thoughts that come up, any feelings. And I want you to identify either just one feeling or the top 3 feelings that this version of yourself feels. And you can name them in your head if you would like. What are the top 3 feelings that this version of yourself feels now that you're kind of merged with this version of yourself? I want you to notice and take in any relevant information to this version of yourself. Just noting the biggest differences, the biggest shifts that you've noticed. I want you to just take a deep breath into the space just to lock and encode this new information into your body. And through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. You're integrating this energy in. Now, when you are ready, they're still doing their thing. You're just going to gently pop out energetically. Just kind of step out of that body. Now I want you to see, now that you've stepped out of that version of yourself, there's now a cord. There's now a cord that's connected from your heart space to that version of yourself. So because you energetically merge with that version of yourself, you have created a permanent connection to this version of yourself. And thoughts, feelings, behaviors, advice, anything that you want to know from this reality, all you need to do is tap into that cord. And it will be sent down through that cord like that old telephone game on a string. All that information will just come down through the cord from that reality and into your heart wherever you are. Now, take in these last moments of observing this reality, observing what that version of yourself is doing, observing what's happening around you, where you are, what's going on. And when you are ready, you're going to just gently float up again, up above the scene, above the city, whatever's going on. You're starting to see yourself distance from the environment that you're in. Ascending up through, above the treetops, through the clouds. Zooming up, 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 up. You can hear the wind in your ears. You can feel your belly drop, going up above the clouds into the atmosphere until you are at the place that you were before. Now you're going to pull back up that timeline and you're going to see both of those marks. Now you're in the desired timeline and you're also going to see where you were previously with that little mark. I want you just to intuitively zoom back to where you were previously in that timeline, wherever that mark is. You can zoom back instantly into that timeline and you are still above the atmosphere. Now, when you're ready, allow yourself to fall and descend down. There's a little GPS pinpoint, so wherever you fall, you'll be right back where we started this journey together. So just allow yourself to descend down past the clouds, down through the treetops, being able to see your house, your area, wherever you started this, in through the roof until you're right above your head, right where we started this, and you can gently sink back in to this version of yourself. And really quick before we end, let's just ground ourselves back into this energy. So I want you to imagine either a waterfall, a tree trunk, or a beam of light down through your root, down into the earth, going down, down, down through all of the earth, all of the soil, until it reaches the crystalline center of the earth. And I just want you to see this beam of light, this waterfall, or this tree trunk just wrap around the crystalline center of the earth. And this is going to help keep you grounded. I want you to make this either tree trunk, beam of light, or waterfall as wide as your body. So as wide as your hips. So it's a very wide grounding cord, just wrapped around the center of the earth. And you still have that cord here at your heart. You can sense that there. And anytime you need to connect to that version of yourself to get ideas, to tune into a new thought, a new feeling, a new action, anytime you need to call on that version of yourself, just intuitively connect to this heart space. You can just almost tug on this cord and information will be sent down from that version of yourself to your heart space right here. So just one more breath in through the nose and out. Now that we're grounded in, you can gently wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, getting present in your body again. And when you are ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes.
That was very amazing. That was great. I can just see people can return to this again and again through our podcast form when it's uploaded, and they can just go and they can go different places in their timeline, right?
Absolutely.
Different places in that wonderful future we're creating for ourselves. So, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I definitely plan on using that as much as I can because that was very cool and
Yeah.
so real. Like it felt so real.
Yeah, because it is because it is, and that's what's so cool about this is like everything we envision, every part of ourselves that we actually go see is actually happening. You know, this 3D world is only 1% of what's actually happening. We can only see 1% of reality, which is visible light. So when you feel that shift, it really is happening. So this is just a way to feel that connection to ourselves so we can get direct advice or really just be supported by that version of ourselves so they can walk us there in our lives. So I'm glad you guys like it.
So cool.
I just have to say that this whole episode here has wreaked havoc on my senses because I could smell that tennis ball, and the room I ended up in was the bathroom, and now I have to pee. So I just want you to know
So it's
that
working.
it made it
Look at
very
that.
real. I've been all over the place for this whole time, so that's awesome. But thank you for that. That's been so cool.
Of
Yeah,
course.
so amazing. So yeah, remember you can just replay this again and again. Like maybe replay it before you listen to Haylee Lynn's Lucid Mystic Dream channel tonight or whenever. Because we were talking. Tell us a bit about your channels. Tell us a bit about your offering. Tell us a bit about your link tree. It's all in the information. But
Yeah. So I have my main channel, which is called the Lucid Mystic, and I basically create information on lucid dreaming, astral projection, like meditation, some really trippy, dreamy stuff on that channel. And that's all just information on how to access these states of consciousness. I go live every Monday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we get into really deep conversations. I do live breathwork sessions on my channel sometimes. And I have a second channel called the Lucid Mystics Sleep Music, and I create binaural beat sleep music for lucid dreaming, astral projection, reality shifting, deep sleep. If you have insomnia and anxiety, I've found that this is really effective. And I've created music in a way where it is extremely ambient, spacey, dreamy, floaty, which I've had a hard time finding. There's no instruments or anything that will disrupt your sleep. It's extreme. It's really meant to guide and support you into entering these deeper states. So the Lucid Mystic and then the Lucid Mystic Sleep Music, those are my two channels. As far as my offers right now, I am about to do a reality shifting mastermind. So on July 25th, I'm actually going to be running a 4-week mastermind where I take you from the reality that you're in now to your desired reality. There's going to be weekly classes. There's going to be a dream circle. There's going to be a weekly guided meditations. We're going to do breath work. We're going to have weekly challenges, and I'll be group coaching all of you guys in a Telegram chat. So, we're going to have those live weekly classes, and then in between, you'll still be able to get all that support. We're going to celebrate each other's wins, and we're really going to shift as a community in that reality shifting mastermind. So if you are in there, the price is going up every 2 weeks. It's $333 right now. I am doing an offer today where it's for $222 today if you're interested in getting in. So that is my next biggest offer that I'm doing, and I'm just so excited to have this mastermind. If you are looking to kind of connect to me and see what's going on in my world, I do have a Patreon where I post a lot of free classes and workshops and live breath work. And so even the lowest tier at $5 a month, you still get a ton of awesome perks and benefits to being a part of the community. You'll see that I have a link tree, which those are where pretty much all my links are. I don't have all of my services up as far as their own links. So if you ever have any questions about any offers that I have, please just feel free to reach out. But my link tree, it has my, my Patreon, all my socials, my online courses, and then of course I do have like live classes and workshops that aren't listed on there. So please reach out. It's very easy to get a hold of me, and I would be happy to chat with you and see how.
Because you teach people how to do some of this stuff, like how to do YouTube and how to do that as well.
Yes, I also, I do business management, YouTube management. And so if you are interested in creating, passive sources of income or really leveling up your business, then I also do coaching on that. I do a plethora of different mentorships, lucid dreaming, astral projection, reality shifting, YouTube management, spiritual development, business development. Like I got you. So please just let me know if there's any questions that you have or any way that I can help, and I'd love to see how I can support you. But mentorships, classes, we're doing it all. We're really
Awesome.
expanding here. But I just want to be able to create as much value as I can and support you in whatever capacity you need. So just let me know. Yeah.
Cool. So, Bex, have you got a couple of questions for?
I think I only have one. I think we've asked for the other ones a few times.
Okay.
I think we can ask the favorite crystal one because I think that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite crystal that you're working with right now?
Right now it's labradorite.
Oh, yes, I'm
Oh
wearing
my
it too.
gosh. Yeah, I actually got this from my grandfather.
Oh, that one's gorgeous.
Yeah, once he passed away, and it has so much energy, and I'll just hold it in meditation and Labrador has been insane for like my dreams and connecting to my intuition. So that's probably my favorite right now for sure. But I love them all.
Yeah, right. We always joke about how it's like having to choose a favorite child. It's
Yeah.
too hard. That's why we say right now it takes the pressure off. Wow, this has been awesome, Haylee. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. This has been such a mind-blowing episode. We really appreciate everything that you're sharing, you're showing up with, and you being you. It's really, you're amazing, and we love you so much.
Thank you guys. I love you all so much. It's always so fun to come and hang out with you guys, and I really appreciate you inviting me back on. It's always good to chat with you guys.
So yeah, don't forget. Oh, we have one other announcement besides that.
I have the winner too, but we'll get to that.
Got the winner. I'll let. But before that, I want to tell you that on the 6th of July, the Wednesday, the Breakthrough Show Network is hosting their birthday bash, and we're going to be there at noon doing cards. But they have special guests all day long, and you can look. I'll have some more information going up, and we'll also be posting for it. So it'll be a fun day.
It's noon Eastern, right? Or
Yeah.
we're doing 1 Eastern.
1 Eastern. Yeah.
There we go.
1 Eastern, noon, sorry, time traveling. Yeah.
So 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific, and whatever's in between.
Yeah, 12
Time
noon
zones.
Central. I love time zones. Who says we don't time travel? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we just did anyway. Haylee took us time traveling, so that's
We
okay.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to get back to my brain after that.
Yeah.
I know. Yes, yeah. I have to go get it outside. So
Yeah.
And Bex, you have the winner.
The winner of this last week's Share It Out is Teresa Clan. Congratulations.
Oh,
And
nice.
so please, guys, share this out. Invite friends so you can get your chance to win the soul spa that we created, the Egyptian soul spa, which is such a cool journey.
Another time travel.
It's very powerful. It's got healing. It's got channeled messages. It's got amazing, detailed, descriptive meditation to take you in. Teresa is incredible with her meditations. We always love following wherever she takes us because you never know where you're gonna go. It is incredible, and you definitely get up leveled. It's awesome.
So yeah, you guys, if you want to have some fun first thing in the morning, I think it's 8 a.m. Eastern. Check out Jessica Dugas Project Joy every morning, and she'll have all the details for when we're on. But we're going to do Heart Strength Challenge for the collective for the next little while, and also have some special guests on our show that day, so you get to meet everybody. Just spend the day, birthday bash. Oh, and I have to say, it was Canada Day on the 1st of July here, but I want to wish my American friends a happy 4th of July coming up tomorrow. So happy long weekend. We both get one just on the either side of it. So you guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Namaste.
You guys, we'll see you on Wednesday.
Yes.
Cheers. And thank you, Haylee, so much. I'm going to plug in tonight, and that's for sure. Yeah. And I'm going to go to our brand, and I'll get that. Thanks.